Internet love is very real. But here's the thing about it. People can show any side of themselves that they want to. They can hide what they want. They can act like certain things didn't happen. And honestly, they can become a totally different version of themselves. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people come online and they are 100% authentically themselves. But do you guys believe me when I say some people online are a little bit more dangerous than they let on to be? Welcome back to another week, another Sinister. It's me, your favorite Hot Topic employee, BOZE. Have I been sued yet? No. Did they give me a job? No. But I'm still your favorite Hot Topic employee. Now, this week, no childhood. There's no childhood because our subjects are essentially children. And also, this is an incredibly modern case. I mean, lots of the stuff I have for you comes directly from their Facebooks. You know, when I was going through this, I thought like, oh, were they on Discord? Were they on Instagram? No, these were 18-year-olds that were active on SoundCloud and Facebook. Now, most of their profiles have been taken down. The amount of videos and screen caps from this case just make it feel so personal. Shaylyn Moran was 18 years old, and she was actually quite a smart girl. However, she chose to be labeled as dangerous. I mean, she labeled herself as this. She even called herself Griselda Blanco online, which, if you didn't know, that's one of the most famous, ruthless, notorious female drug kingpins, like, ever. Her calling herself that is actually just kind of silly to me because I get it. She's supposed to be all scary and gangster, and this is a murder case. However, really? An 18-year-old girl calling herself Griselda Blanco? Now, Shaylyn met a 23-year-old guy named Jack Doherty. Now, there is nothing wrong with the name Jack Doherty. However, Jack preferred to be called Goth Shooter Santana III. Shaylyn considered this attractive. He was edgy, he was a bad boy, just like her. I've been doing this for 10 years. I have seen hundreds of true crime cases, and what I tend to find are children that were very, very hurt in the world when they were younger. They sometimes will adopt these hardcore, dangerous identities to be like, get away from me, don't hurt me, because I'll hurt you first. They thought that if they came together, nobody would ever hurt them again. Shaylyn Moran was born on February 4th, 2001. Now, I rebuke this because my birthday is also February 4th. Don't y'all hate when you're going through some case of some bad person and they share a birthday with you? It's like, no, give me that back. Don't touch that. But alas, Shaylyn was born on February 4th, 2001. She liked to call herself Shay on Facebook, obviously, as well as Griselda Blanco. But her main name that she called herself, and many other people did, was Shay. Now, it's kind of funny, too, because Shay kind of carries this light, playful tone. And then we have the gangster drug lord kingpin. I also just cosplaying as a drug lord, as an 18-year-old girl is just, okay. Now, not much is known about Shaylyn's upbringing. We usually find that information out like during court cases where maybe family members speak up about something that happened, or maybe the killer themselves has an opportunity to share their story, but nothing like that really happened for Shaylyn. She was a quiet girl early on that was born in Rhode Island, but slowly in her teen years, her image kind of started to shift. Now, this leads me to believe that something may have happened in Shaylyn's childhood because, by the time she was 14 or 15, she was wearing shirts that said spawn of Satan and wearing a lot of dark makeup. It's kind of a signal of like, get away from me, I'm dangerous. I've been through this before as a former goth in high school, so I get it. When the world hurts you and you don't know what to do about it, you kind of put on this scary shield to make everybody stay away. And honestly, that shit works. Now, Shaylyn took this a step further because by the time that she was 18, she got a face tattoo. And it's a very striking face tattoo. She had a sniper scope underneath her right eye. This didn't really scare a lot of guys off. In fact, it intrigued them. Shaylyn was not much of a party girl. She was a little bit more of an internet girl. Now, sure, she had friends in person. I was scrolling through her SoundCloud and, there was a lot First of all, there was a lot of people commenting, free Shaylyn. Y'all really just be saying free everybody, huh? She would spend most of her time posting on Facebook, browsing SoundCloud, and chatting with different guys. And at one point, she meets a guy named Leonard. They very quickly connected online, and by the fall of 2019, Shaylyn was on her way to meet him for the first time in person. She actually stayed overnight with him at his mom's house the very first time that they ever met. But here's the thing. Remember I said that people online can kind of just be whatever they want to be? They can cut off parts of themselves and act like they don't exist. They can show you an entirely new version of themselves. They can be sweet, calm, and kind. But when you meet in person, there are a lot of factors. Sure, there was mutual attraction between Leonard and Shaylyn, but something was a little off. Hey, take the quiz and introduce Ollie to your pet. And what exactly is Ollie? Fresh food for your pup delivered straight to your house. The best part is they've got a little customized quiz which only takes about 30 seconds. It asks you a little bit about your dog's habits, their weight, everything like that to create the perfect protein first fresh recipes for your pet. I'm somebody that grew up feeding my dog just regular kibble because I thought, this is totally fine. It wasn't until our dog had to go through cancer treatment and I started buying her fresh food, and I don't know how to explain it, but just the energy levels that she had were so different. I could not believe it. So one, I'm a huge fan of fresh food for your dog, even though it can be a bit pricier. And then Ollie takes it to the next level by making it completely custom. You will see way more excitement. You will see way more energy and probably poops that are a little bit easier to pick up. So if you guys want to try Ollie, you can get 60% off of a starter kit. Listen. Your pet's got to eat anyways. You may as well try something fresh, delivered straight to your door with 60% off. All you got to do is go to ollie.com/sinister. That's ollie.com/sinister. Plus, Ollie has a happiness guarantee on your very first box. So if you're not happy, you'll get a refund. ollie.com/sinister. Something was so off that by the fourth day, they had gotten into a physical altercation. Now, this is where it gets a little complicated because Leonard seemed very scared when he spoke to police, and Shaylyn was claiming that he had assaulted her. And he was literally like, I literally have known this girl for 4 days. It has been very tense. It has been very uncomfortable. And she hit me, but I just want to get out of this situation. I'm afraid of her. Please help me. Well, the police didn't really know what to do because Shaylyn had gone to the police station after a dispute and she had filed the police report first. So ultimately, Leonard, who was much older, they decided he was the aggressor and they charged him with domestic violence. Now, I will say I did also see that he was also charged with disorderly conduct, which might mean that he resisted when the officers picked him up. So it's really unclear what the situation between the two of them was. However, we do know is that Leonard was the one that was arrested. He and Shaylyn broke up, and this relationship only lasted 4 days. Then, by October of 2019, there was a court-ordered no contact order between the two of them. And right after this passed, Shaylyn took the opportunity to text him, and she said, I'll kill you. So y'all gotta understand, when I'm looking at this, here's this really young girl that is calling in saying that there was domestic violence. And then this guy gets arrested. And I can't help but notice the disorderly conduct. I'm not sure if that applies to her. But to me, usually that means that when they went to arrest him, he put up quite a fight, maybe even assaulted an officer. I don't see assault on an LEO, but still, maybe. Who knows? But the judge just decided, both of you stay away from each other. This is really bad. And I think we can all agree, y'all can't last 4 days. 4 days? I mean, they must have been hiding something online because they were talking for weeks and weeks and weeks. And they get there, and by day 3, it's like, hold on a minute. And by day 4, they're throwing blows. Well, shortly after, they are completely separated. But Shaylyn still takes the opportunity to tell Leonardo, hey, by the way, I'll fucking kill you. Leonard did not engage with this given the court no contact order, but Shaylyn continued. She said, I'll kill your fucking brother. I'll kill your fucking dog. I'll kill your fucking mom. I'll kill anybody and everybody. Which, by the way, see, this is also where I'm like a little confused. I think they were probably just both very volatile. Nobody was safe from Shaylyn's threats. And then it kind of seemed like it stopped for a while. And then she came up with a whole new threat. She told him that she was going to go to the daycare where his mother worked and take the kids out. Now, given there was a court order for them not to have contact, and Shaylyn not only violated that, but violated it to make threats against him, his mother, the dog, children. I mean, it says a lot about her character. She's saying to him, don't mess with me. I am not afraid of you. Regardless, this relationship is going downhill, and that's when Shaylyn sets her sights on a new guy named Jack Doherty. New internet boyfriend unlocked. Now, Jack was born on January 25th, 1996. And I never say this in cases, but I just have to for the people that get it. Dude, 2 Aquariuses that are like overly violent and really into SoundCloud rappers just sound so fucking annoying. Somebody knows what I mean, okay? He was raised in Brooklyn, New York, and he went to Edward Burrough High School. I love to tell you guys like different little locations because I know there's somebody out here that went to that same school. He was in the online scene pretty heavy, just like Shaylyn. You know, he was a little popular on Facebook, Instagram, SoundCloud, and like I mentioned earlier, he didn't just go by Jack. He went by Goth Shooter Santana III, or sometimes more creatively, King Kiba Black Wolf. Personally, I think the name Jack was just fine, but maybe he felt like it didn't suit him. So this is where we get into how creepily modern this case is. Now, in 2017, like I said, oh my God, I almost just called him King Kiba, whatever. Jack starts to get into this online dispute with a YouTuber named Jock Jam Jesus. It seems like it started with Jack Doherty just kind of trolling this guy. Like, he was a huge internet troll. And as we all know, internet trolls are essentially just attention seekers. They need attention, whether it's positive or negative. It kind of fills the same bucket for them. So Jack would just kind of go around poking different people's buttons. And Jock Jam Jesus was close to the inner circles he was in. He was also a SoundCloud person, made rap music, and they started having some type of online feud. Well, Jock Jam Jesus decided to end it all in a very internet way, and he called him the N-word, supposedly. Now, Jock Jam Jesus, who, by the way, has since passed, he overdosed a couple of years ago. Some people suspect it may have been intentional. Some people think it may have been an accident. But a lot of his videos are still online today, including one where he decides to confront Jack Doherty, aka King Kiba Black Wolf, on supposedly calling him the N-word. Now, my researcher has found this video, but in typical style on this channel, I have only seen the first 30 seconds. So whatever happens during the confrontation, I am seeing this for the first time along with you. So for audio listeners, this video starts with Jock Jam Jesus recording Jack's Facebook page on his cell phone.
So this dude here, Jack William Doherty, he had been hating on me like a whole bunch, right? Just running his mouth all over Facebook and stuff, acting like a boy. And then we got into an argument about it. And then he started claiming that I called him the N-word, right? And he posted a screenshot that was supposedly proof that I called him the N-word. And like a few people even unfriended me over this. They just took his screenshot as being real, right? Even though he's clearly like an internet troll or some shit. But anyway, you know, I'm the bigger man. I'm gonna inbox him and see if I can get a conversation going, and I'm gonna apologize and be the bigger man. Let me see if I can get him to answer a call here. I'll get back with you guys.
So next, Jack Doherty, the internet troll, supposedly gets on a call with Mikey, aka Jock Jam Jesus.
So what's good, man?
So what made you decide to call me?
You know, I know you're upset because supposedly I called you the N-word or whatever, right? And I thought I'd call and apologize, man. But I'm gonna do and say whatever I want, n***.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh, hey, look, this is sinister. I told you I know the case, but they just gave me that video wrong. Oh my God. And then he calls back. And then Jack Doherty calls back. Okay, we can now confirm that Jock Jam Jesus probably did say it the first time. He just said it then now. And is he about to say it again?
You didn't like my apology, man?
You're fucking hilarious, man.
In the video, Jack Doherty then shows a gun to Jock Jam Jesus.
Yo, what's that shit you had in your video, bro? That's like it's a 44?
Yeah, it's a 44 Magnum revolver.
That little fucking 357.
After he shows the clip with the gun, Jock Jam then shows a kind of still screen where he wrote, Jack has stated many times that he's going to kill me. He is making subtle threats. Now, as a reminder here, we clearly are not on Jock Jam Jesus or Jack's side. We're just spectators.
Not 44 yet.
Oh shit! Yeah, actually, that's what I had. Actually, bro, was the 357.
The fucking then I got the 42, bro.
No, I got a 44 too, but it's not a revolver.
I can't believe I have to say this. So they continue to show each other their guns, kind of awkwardly, but like threateningly in a way. I guess this is the way that internet trolls threaten each other. In the next, Jock Jam Jesus puts up another still screen with text that says, here, he starts to imply that he is going to come to my town in order to shoot me. And then he writes, uppercase P, thus making the little tongue sticking out of the face emoji.
I live in a small town too, so I know how it feels. But your town is especially small, bro. There's only like 2 gas stations in your whole town, bro. You're human, right?
Yeah, basically.
You're human. So that means you gotta eat, right?
Right.
You gotta go to the grocery store or whatever.
We all know this is corny, right? Yes, this is so corny. But I will be honest, as somebody who has been a resident of the internet for many, many years, these people are bored and they don't have anything to do rather than, prove how hardcore they are. So despite how awkward and weird this all is, they really are capable of being bored enough to go to each other's towns and mess with each other, or worse.
I'll probably see you around. So it was good talking to you, bro.
All right, man.
God, that was so interesting and so corny at the same time. Usually on Sinister, I kind of try to keep it a little more storytelling, but if you guys like the media pieces like that and me kind of seeing it for the first time with you, let me know in the comments and we'll keep putting them in if we can find them. This episode is sponsored by IQ Bar. IQ Mix is a 0 sugar drink mix that comes from IQ Bar, and it is my favorite. It's a mix that hydrates and then also boosts your mood with a few extra little fun pieces. Now, I love it because I only keep water in the house. So whenever I do want something that's like a little bit tasty, has a little bit of flavor, I just grab a little packet of the IQ Mix. They have passion fruit, lemon lime, pina colada, peach mango, lots and lots of different flavors. And the best part is you can kind of just get like a little variety assortment. I have this little tin that I keep in between my stove and my sink where I just have a whole bunch of the IQ mixes, and I'll grab one on the go with a water bottle, or if I want something a little fruitier to drink, I'll just throw it in my water. It's right there. It's 20% off of all IQ Bar products. So you guys may have heard me also talk about the IQ Joe or some of their IQ bars, but you can use this code for anything. All you got to do is go to eatiqbar.com, and then when you go to checkout, put 20 Sinister in the description. That's eatiqbar.com, and then check out with the code 20 Sinister. So that is Jock Jam Jesus and Jack Doherty. But, I mean, the story is really about Shaylyn and Jack Doherty, and their online relationship is blossoming. Shaylyn feels safe and sound with Jack, who seems to have kind of a similar frequency as her, and also he's always flaunting his guns. He just seems like a don't mess with me type, which is exactly what Shaylyn is, and also exactly what Shaylyn wants. Now, at some point in this long distance relationship, which is really just a toxic match like made in heaven, Shaylyn starts to tell Jack about her ex-boyfriend, Leonard. Now, Their romance in person only lasted 4 days, but because of the weeks leading up to it online, the hope, excitement, the promise, all the way into court and the no contact order, this really left a mark on Shaylin. Now, sometimes, and I find this happens a lot with younger couples, they love to bash the ex. Couples will sometimes bond over hating the ex, whether it's an ex-girlfriend that the guy was with or whether it's an ex-boyfriend that the girl was with. This is called intimacy bonding over a common enemy. And it can feel really good in the moment, but it is so incredibly hollow. He kind of gets this sense of pride of like, yeah, I've got this girl now. I've got this really bad chick, and you weren't man enough to handle her, but I am, and she picked me. And then they start talking about committing violence against Leonard. My thought here is that perhaps Jack feels like this is another way to prove his dominance over Shaylyn's ex that she hates so much, and also a way to prove to her like, hey, I'll protect you from people that hurt you. Now, because this is a modern case which is online, and you guys know everything is online, the courts can just subpoena Facebook or Meta in this case, and they can get any messages they want. There was one message sent on December 28th in 2019, 2 months after Shaylyn was dating Leonard. And she says to Jack, when I leave for Maine, I'm gonna need you to hit up Leo so I can stain and then switch the state. Now, really quick question for everybody. Do you guys know what that means? Because I didn't know what that means. I had to look it up. So I can stain and then switch the state. Jack clearly knows what this means because he responded and said, LOL, you just let me know. My understanding of this is that to stain is to kill somebody, and then to switch the state is to disappear or get away with it. So she casually sends him this message. It's like, hey, I'm gonna get to Maine, I'm gonna kill him, and then like I'm gonna like keep it moving. And he's like, yeah, LOL, like let's ride. Like I said, this type of language was oddly normalized in their community. Now, the obscure language continues because the next day, on December 29th at 9 p.m., Jack messages Shaylin, and he said that he was coming to Rhode Island and not empty-handed. He said that he was pulling up with a cannon. Now, that one, I knew exactly what it was without Googling. He was showing up with a gun. But Jack was also showing up with something else for Shaylin. Now, it may seem like Jack and Shaylin have had a pretty intense relationship, but the reality of the situation is they have never met before. They've talked on video calls, they've chatted online for hours, they've shared interests, they have mutual online friends, but they have never actually met. Being attuned to somebody's nervous system is like a really big thing. Like when you meet somebody, their frequency, their system can feel different. But Jack wasn't concerned about this at all. He knew that Shaylin was the one because on December 31st, 2019, he crossed state lines from New York to Rhode Island to go see her, and he came with a ring in his pocket. And on the first night that he met, he proposed to her. They rented a hotel room in Pawtucket and then headed out for the night for a New Year's bash. They were celebrating their engagement. They were celebrating their new love. These people have literally never met before, but they seemed to be very excited. But that night, after Shaylin had accepted his proposal, they did not begin to plan a wedding, but they instead began to plan a murder. The plan was simple: to go to Leonard's house, knock on the door, and then shoot whoever was to answer. Now, for them, they assumed that it would be Leonard, but that's what the plan was. Knock, open, shoot. It wasn't well thought out, but it was a simple, uncomplicated plan. In their heads, they probably thought, well, Shaylin and he dated 2 years ago, so, maybe she's over it by now, and, Jack didn't even live in Rhode Island. This one's an odd one for me. This case is an odd one for me. I have no idea what the fuck they were thinking. I think that their common thread online was violence, And they maybe felt like if they escalated to this level that they would be forever bonded, and their bond would be violence. But what's so interesting about that is I think we all know that months from now, if one of them were upset or miffed, they would immediately turn to threatening each other with violence. But this is how they came together, and this is what the plan was. So, on the evening of January 1st, just hours after Jack Doherty had gotten down on one knee for his soon-to-be wife, Shaylyn Moran, he went to Baxter Street, where Leonard lived with his mother, and he started to survey the area. He knew what the plan was. Knock, door opens, shoot, run away. By this time, it's dark, and he has already surveyed the perimeter of the property. He's looked around. It's a fairly quiet neighborhood. There's nobody outside in the evening, and he walks up to the home, probably incredibly excited to kill Shaylyn's ex-boyfriend, this guy that had hurt her, this guy that had fumbled her, this guy that didn't appreciate her. And now he was not only going to appreciate her, but he was going to protect her. He knocks, it opens, and just like he planned, he fired his gun 4 times and ran off. But the person that answered the door was not Leonard. It was his mom, Cheryl. Cheryl was not just Leonard's mother. She was everybody in the town's second mom. For many years, Cheryl was a child care worker at the YMCA. She protected and took care of hundreds of children during her time there. Eventually, when Cheryl decided she wanted more and wanted to explore other options, she continued to take care of kids at the YMCA while pursuing her real estate license, and ultimately got her real estate license and landed a job at Sotheby's International Realty in Boston. Honestly, Cheryl was just a normal lady trying to live a life that she found to be fulfilling. Her obituary said that Cheryl enjoyed music, traveling the world with her brother, and most of all, she loved being a mother to her boys. At 8:15 p.m., the Pawtucket police received a report of a shooting that had happened on Baxter Street. Some of the witnesses said that they saw a black man in dark clothes fleeing the scene. People saw him. This was in 2019, but there's ring cameras everywhere. I mean, his surveillance, it was not very well thought out. Cheryl was shot 4 times, and it was tragic. When officers arrived on the scene, she was still laying in the doorway, and she was still alive. They rushed her to the hospital, but she was ultimately pronounced dead. Now, back at the scene, they spoke to Leonard, who was home at the time, and guess what he did? He immediately pulled up screenshots he had saved on his phone of his ex Shaylyn saying, "I will kill you. I will kill your mom." I mean, he hands this over to the police, and they clearly already have their suspect. Well, the next thing they do is they go on Shaylyn's Facebook page, and what do they see? A picture of Shaylyn and a black guy in bed while she's holding up a diamond ring. And you guys aren't going to believe this. The caption on the photo. I'm so sorry. I am so fucking sorry. Are you sitting down right now? Are you sitting down? The caption on the photo after the shooting of them in bed, it said, quote, "Some fighters and some shooters." Like, you can't make this up. You can't make this up. These people are, they're not even in Delulu land, okay? As a person that takes occasional visits, mental health visits to Delulu land, they don't even live there. They are not welcome. These people are just fucking crazy and stupid, okay? Like, yo. One of the detectives actually immediately recognized Jack at the scene, even though he lived in Brooklyn, like he had been in so much trouble before. They knew who he was too. Now, of course, Shaylyn and Jack don't assume that the police are already on to them. They're just basking in this new bond. Jack actually even Snapchats to Shaylyn, and he says, "Now, this is for life." And she responds with, "I'm yours forever and you're mine." Yo, who else knows that if this hadn't happened, these people would have moved to threatening each other within like a couple of weeks? Well, either way, we don't get that storyline because just hours after the shooting, the police were knocking on Jack's door. The shooting happened just after 8 o'clock, and by 10:30 p.m. that day, the police had tracked them down to the Hampton Inn on George Street in Rhode Island. The detectives were coming together with their plan, all in the hallways, when Shaylyn and Jack literally just walked right out of room 517, and they said, "Oh, there they are. Get them." This is actually one of the craziest and dumbest cases that I have ever looked at. Like, I know normally on Sinister, we're all like very into the childhood, but I'm going to start doing like a little mix of both, because what the fuck is this? And it's also fascinating to me. So when they came out of the room, I can't believe it's going to get worse. When they came out of the room, Jack had the 9mm pistol that he had just shot her with. They went inside of the room in the Hampton Inn, and they also found a pill bottle with the label scraped off, a couple of unidentified pills, some blood-stained sheets, and also they could actually smell the scent of the gunpowder in the room. Now, these two buffoons were arrested within 2 hours and 15 minutes. Yes, that includes the driving time to get to the hotel. They start going through all their social media pages, and these two are always talking about some young blood, get money, bloody boy Santana. Like, literally, that's what he would call himself. There was an image of Jack online where he was like pointing at a pistol, or like he would have these razors in his hands, and the caption said bloody boy Santana, with also, don't forget, goth shooter Santana the Third. Bro, that name is like not even cool. So during the trial, the investigation, they, look into both of their phones, every single thing that they had done on them. And they find that it seems like Shaylyn actually stayed at the hotel at the Hampton Inn, which is like so funny because she acts like she's like really about it. Then it's like, okay, babe, like go knock on my ex-boyfriend's door. Oh, now we're bonded together. Like, what? So she stayed at the hotel, and then he took a lift to commit the murder. And then he called another ride. I can't believe it. He called a lift, and then he went to the pharmacy afterwards, stopped by, and then he took the lift back to their hotel room. It was all in the phone. I don't know what la la land these two were living in. So as they were getting pressed on this stuff, which I don't even think they had to press very hard. It was all right there. Jack, big tough guy, he starts to get upset with the detectives. He even charges at one of the detectives, but they're like, okay, slow down, buddy. Handcuffs, get in the back of the car, Whenever people kill together in a case for love, here's a really big example. Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow. Oh, they thought they were so in love. They thought it was spiritual. They thought it was amazing. Well, once they got separated for a long period of time, Lori started acting like she barely even knew who Chad was, and he doesn't talk about her anymore. Once you detach these nervous systems from each other, it kind of just like falls apart, and it's like, wait, we did what? They had finally been separated for a while, and one of Cheryl's cousins, it was a guy named Sean Bray, he was in the courtroom, and he made a couple of quotes to reporters, but he mentioned that both of them were just completely cold and emotionless. No tears, no crying, no remorse. They were just like pieces of cardboard. He told the reporters after attending Shaylyn's trial, quote, "I want to make sure that the price they pay is equal to the hurt that we're feeling. They are reprehensible. I would like to make sure she's remembered for the way she smiled, for the care that she gave, and I would like her to be remembered for her entire life, not just her last day." Jack's public defender really has his work cut out for him because he decided to plead not guilty by reason of insanity. I am so tired of people not only abusing not guilty by reason of insanity, but also like fantasizing about getting away with horrible crimes by pleading insanity. Like, he really tried to convince the jury that he was crazy, and so much so that the jury rebutted his defense. The jury said, okay, cut the crap, big boy. Like, we're not buying this. It is not working. I can't even imagine the mockery of insanity that Jack Doherty put on in the court. Bloody boy Santana. Like, no, buddy, you just need therapy and like a hug from your mom, okay? Let's just be real. Like, what is that? What is that? Now, as you may have guessed, both Jack and Shaylyn were found guilty. In 2021, Shaylyn was sentenced to life in prison plus 20 years for the murder of Cheryl. Then, the following year, November 15th, 2022, of course, Jack Doherty's insanity defense does not work, and he is also given life in prison. Now look, this is not just a violent, murderous crime. This is also a story about two people in a toxic relationship that brought out the worst in each other. Shaylyn was young, volatile, and also enamored with a really toxic lifestyle. I mean, I think anybody can see that being obsessed with the type of things that she was obsessed with is going to lead you down a particular path. Now, maybe Shaylyn regrets her decisions. As she's in jail now, she's working on her GED, and she also wants to get some type of education in business. What she wants to do with that, I'm not sure. But the reality of the situation is, with those 20 years on top of her life sentence, Shaylyn Moran will most likely be in prison for the rest of her life.